Playing video games as much as I do inevitably leads to comparing dozens or even hundreds of games to ones that fail to bring anything new or innovative to the roguelike or roguelike gaming genre. That's not to say that a game must reinvent the entire wheel to capture players' interest, but it certainly needs to offer something unique in a slightly different way rather than feeling like a direct clone or a title lacking depth and thoughtful design that envelops all of your senses. Luck and Loot is one such game. It's very minimal and well executed in terms of the atmosphere that it aims to create, but in nearly every other area, that being the gameplay, difficulty, dice building, events, and enemy or build balance, it just feels inconsistent. Dice deck building has become a fairly common genre in recent years, and while many games strive to differentiate themselves through their new features, mechanics, or story elements, most ultimately end up feeling very similar to prior concepts, and Luck and Loot is no exception. There are a few issues that I had with this game, not bugs or game-breaking problems, but how linear it feels outside of the builds themselves. Because it relies heavily on RNG, you might get yourself a strong build or even a weak one. You'll fight the same bosses each and every time, and it's unclear how much the events change, as I didn't notice much variation outside of the well, merchants, and so on. The game uses dice sets and modifiers to give you a chance at rolling favorable symbols for defense, healing, and damage, or in other cases, curses and buffs that affect you and enemies alike. That system isn't inherently a problem. What is problematic is how easily certain builds can be forced and how unbalanced the entire gameplay is when it comes to strategy. For one such example, one build revolves around an axe that increases damage based on the number of empty slots that are currently in that selected dice. So if you end up using this axe, you will deal a massive amount of single target damage. Combine that with the RNG chance to roll higher chances for a dice in a specific slot, and you are essentially guaranteed to hit it every single turn. This makes all fights trivial and removes much of the challenge the game tries to create when you rock a strength scaling build with a bunch of buffs and relics that keep you at full health and stacking strength. Trying a different character was immediately discouraging. After playing the same stages against the same bosses and enemies, the game expected me to spend another 2 hours leveling a new character to unlock new perks, health, relics, and weapons for that character, but with less interesting special abilities. But on top of that, with the option to play at a higher difficulty, yet I would still be drawn to playing the same overpowered builds, ignoring all of the strategy. The building blocks for a solid dice deck builder are all here, but the experience feels bogged down by so many unnecessary systems, and as a result, the replay value feels absent. Normally, we have a lot more to say about video games, but there isn't anything new here. You've already seen this gameplay before, and you've seen this art style many other times. Even if it looks cool, it's just not enough. At its core, it is a very basic dice deck builder that's far too easy to play through on your first attempt. Even with the modifiers later on, it doesn't provide any incentives because it fails to properly balance the bosses, the elites, and other challenges like the builds themselves. So for $8, you're essentially paying for one run that takes just over an hour and a half to complete, with very little motivation to play any further. I'm more drawn to a game like Die in the Dungeon, as it does similar things but expands on them with better music, stronger atmosphere, more meaningful challenge, and interesting player character designs. Even with that game's own issues, like the predefined fights that require specific strategies to beat, it offers more depth and engagement, provides double the playtime, and isn't fully released, meaning there could be more content in the future. By contrast, Luck and Loot is a fully released game, and there is likely no plans for future updates or releases.